Poor old Brexiters. They're feeling rather downtrodden. Since us Remainers keep pointing out the flippin' obvious that Brexit is an unmitigated disaster. While Britain has the highest inflation rate in the G7. And it's only, nation in a group of advanced economies with inflation in the double digits. Now, this is after last month's rather shocking increase. I shouldn't laugh already, because it's quite serious, you know. People are suffering. But the Brexiters, they don't care. I just want my Brexit. That's what they say. They've lost their minds. Why did they vote for Brexit back in 2016? Oh, I wonder. I know what James O'Brien says. Not everyone who voted for Brexit is a racist and a bigot. But all the racists, bigots and nasty people did vote for Brexit. Well, with the UK, whereas appearing as an international outlier. Some economists said they're blaming Brexit. They reckon that's what's caused the downtrodden UK. Our economy is in a bit of a mess, you know. Now, there are some features of an economy which can, cause inflation to rise. And then you got Brexit. Yeah, it can rise or it can fall. And at times it may not be replicated in other nations because other nations don't have Brexit. How many times can I say Brexit? Well, it is an unmitigated disaster. We need to be reminded how bad it is. I know. I don't want to talk about Brexit anymore. No, Brexit's boring. I know Brexit. Brexit's done. Boris, he got Brexit done, didn't he? No. He achieved absolutely diddly squat. Our tidy Prime Minister, Richie Sunak, had to correct some of his errors, and even then it's not corrected in the Windsor framework. Because they're still not happy. No, they never will be. Because the DUP want to remain irrelevant, you see. Stick their oar in. So yeah, some features of an economy can rise and they can fall. At times, it might not be replicated in other nations, and it certainly isn't in regards to Brexit. Although Brexit is causing problems in the EU as well. But not like the UK, no. Well, the off-gem price cap in the United Kingdom, is one example. It's leading to a cliff edge for energy price changes. And economists expect the UK inflation rate to, fall sharply in April for this reason. That's compared against a huge 54% jump in the off-gem cap 12 months earlier. Well, it gets from bad to worse, you know. It does. Brexit is it's added to delivery times. And costs for UK imports. Makes everything more expensive, you see. It's inflation for you, you see. It's a factor likely to be passed on to customers. It's got to be eventually. You can't constantly be sucking up the cost of production by companies. They can't do it forever, you know. They go bankrupt. And there'll be no companies. So sooner or later you're going to have to pay. And it's already started. Now part of the, inflation shock, that was back in February. And was due to the rising cost of cucumbers, tomatoes and salad. And Teresa coffee. She told you all to eat turnips instead. And now there's no turnips. And one farmer, actually more than one farmer, two farmers have decided. One of them's called he nicknamed the Turnip King. Well, they all shut up shop. So you can't even get turnips. Farming in the United Kingdom. Well, it's going to be a pastime. So yes, cucumbers, tomatoes, salad. And all those prices rose if you get hold of them. And then we got rationing. Won't be long before we get a ration app. I wonder if Dido Hard-On's going to be commissioned to do that one. The last app did well, didn't it? It sent out one notification. What a disaster that was. 37 odd billion, or was it 39? 37 odd billion pounds. You could have bought 3 of those broken aircraft carriers, such as the HMS Prince of Wales, which is sitting in a dock with a bent prop shaft or something. It's broken anyway, whatever it is. And it's going to cost another 20-odd million to repair. You really can't make this poop up. You really can't. No. Well, experts, they blamed the shortages on unseasonably cold weather they did. Remember, they said it's too cold in Spain and Morocco, they said. And it's affecting the harvests. But we here in the EU, in France for instance, we had no problems at all getting our tomatoes. I showed you in other videos. They're in, look, check it on the channel. Yeah, proof, evidence that we had no problems. But you in the UK had empty boxes. Boxes, well, they couldn't even print enough blanks to make it look like the shelves were full. But they weren't. They're empty. Still got problems, although it's eased somewhat. Now many, such as myself, has pointed out it's because of Brexit. Immigration, for instance, freedom of movement, is one of the killers. And that's what's led to, well, the lack of food on our supermarket shelves. But not here. In the EU, there's plenty. It is expensive, I must admit, the prices have gone up. I admit that. They certainly have gone up. But at least we're not going hungry. Well, just thinking, the former Sainsbury's chief, remember him? Chief executive he was for Sainsbury's. Well, he said that the UK food sector had been significantly disrupted by leaving the European Union. While producers in the bloc warned Britain had slipped down that pecking order. They're not sending stuff to the UK, you see. No, especially when supplies are tighter in the EU. Feed the EU first, then any dregs, and the odd bit of rotten meat because there's no checks. We'll send it to the UK, because we can. It's completely not a mess, you know. So, now research from the London School of Economics. See, these people with big brains, you see. They're all leaving too. They're all ending up in the EU. Yeah, brain drain, you could say. They said that Brexit had added almost 6 billion to the UK food bills. Well, UK food inflation is around 16%. But then you've got the inputs, you see, that goes into your food, such as what the farmers have to buy. Feed, fertiliser, etc. It's almost 20% inflation. Well, it gets from bad to worse, it does. Now, there are also some domestic reasons. Because growers are blaming the powerful British supermarkets as well. They say they're partly to blame. Now, I could probably agree with that to some degree. Because we've had a system in place that, while it was running okay. But the farmers have been screwed. But no, how to put it, no froth on your coffee, no cream. Case of times, which are not so profitable as they once were. There's no buffer. There's no sump. So they're blaming the supermarkets now. But why are we in this position in the first place? We're in this position because of Brexit and supply chain issues. And obviously the war in Ukraine hasn't helped because of wheat costs and stuff to feed and what have you, but also fertiliser. But they all say, the fertiliser costs are all gone up because of the war in Ukraine. But no, they went up before that war in Ukraine. I reported on it. And CO2 gases that have been used in packaging and culling of animals, such as chickens. And now you've got BSE in the United Kingdom. Mad cow. Been found in Cornwall. In a dead cow. Yeah, and I'm not talking about Teresa Coffee, because she's alive. Well. I shouldn't laugh. It's just painful. My family lives in the UK, so I'm very concerned about them. And I'm concerned about good people too, you know. The racists and the bigots, well, they can starve to death as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. No. But good, decent people. Judge people on who they are, not what they are. I don't care what colour your skin is or where you're from, and don't give a diddly squat. No. Might find it interesting, but as far as it goes, got no malice there. No. But if you're a Brexiter, if you're a racist and a bigot, I can't say what I'd like to do. Anyway, Worker shortages as well. They're on top of that whole supply chain disruption. Can't get the people, no. Energy costs, wages have all had a rather significant impact in response to the inflation shock. Workers are demanding higher pay as well. Supply and demand, you see. Well, there's demand because you ain't got enough people. The people can ask for more money. That's good in some ways, some people will say. I know the lorry drivers do say that. But it ain't going to help the lorry drivers or the other workers who saying that they got higher wages when those businesses fail. And there is no work. Bit of an oxymoron, I suppose. Can't have it always, you know. So in response to that whole inflation shock, workers are demanding higher pay settlements from their employers. To be fair, they have been squeezed for a long period, especially in, well, like the trains, the nurses, the doctors, and the paramedics as well. Yeah, they're all being squeezed by this government. Well, there's a lack of staff. There's a lack of people because we're not making them anymore. No. And look, and it's forcing companies to offer higher wages to recruit or retain staff. Now, I know what you can say, oh, that's good. Now, if it was coming out of the profit margin, but then I'd say, okay, then that's good. But like any of these companies, they're looking at making sure they hold on to their share values, and to do that, they need to make sure that they're, making sure they're profitable, high profits, so they can pay more in dividends to the shareholders. I know it's a bit of a sticky point, really. People don't like that. Especially the working class. People who just, making these businesses work. They want to be paid a decent wage. Of course they do. I get that. It ain't going to do you much good if the company fails. But that's no excuse for those who work for, well, public services, for instance. They're the ones we should be looking after. The NHS, for instance. We should be looking after them. Plain and simple. Okay, they agree to some kind of, as you know, they've been striking, and the dispute has been agreed, and apparently, tougher post-Brexit migration rules has caused even more headaches, it has. And it's adding to that problem. Because we need nurses, and we can't get them, we're not, training as we did. Now, when my son was doing nursing, he had a bursary, and the bursary was something worth having. Yes, they brought back the bursary eventually, because they got rid of it, you see, the Tories, but they brought it back. As a shadow of its former self. Why would anyone want to do all that training and get all that debt and just to be treated like, shit? So, then we got the lower skilled roles in sectors such as, hospitality. And I debate that. Lower skilled. I don't believe that for a minute, really. Anyone who works in any kind of field, there is a skill involved in what you might call it lower skilled, but I don't know. Depends how good you are at your job, doesn't it, really? Skills and everything, from making beds to, oh God, has anyone tried to put a flipping quilt cover on? Pointless exercise. I hate doing that. Anyway, net migration to the United Kingdom, it continued to rise since a record level, actually, since Brexit. Just not from the EU. It was the way around, but now it's like 80% from non-EU countries, not from the 27-nation bloc. The more brown faces, the Brexiters, the racist Brexiters, that is, they won't be happy. No. Be more Indian corner shops. Maybe. However, research from the Centre of the European Reform and UK and A Changing Europe, it suggests that Brexit has led to a shortfall of around 330,000 people, and people who will be in our workforce, workers. We know there's about 60,000 just for the doctors that we need, and 40-odd thousand just for the nurses we need. Then there's every other sector. This is such a mess. It really is. So the UK labour force is suffering because we need people. You really need to get jiggy with it, you know it, don't you? Stop making people. Now I know you say, we can't fit them in. You can't get pointed at a half-pint pot, they say. That's what Brexiters, that is. What a whole load of bollocks that is. Well, it's a ridiculous analogy. Because we need people. And we're not making them anymore. And as a result, we've got population implosion. We've got a situation where we've got the work, but not the people. Well, this is maddening. As me living in France, I look in, I do, and I say, oh my God, what again? When are people going to wake up, people? When are you going to stand up against this tyranny? Because that's what it is, this Tory party. It's basically a tyranny. Tyrants. A cabal. That's the way I see it. They're screwing everybody over. Meanwhile, they're pocketing. Such as Richie Sunak, who's, I've just been exposed by Carol Vorderman, of all people, from Countdown. He invested in companies via, asset holding companies. During COVID, making shitloads of money. Insider trading, you could say. Well, you tell me. Please leave it in the comments down below. Is Britain completely and utterly buggered? Well, it is until we get somebody in charge that actually cares, because this lot don't. This is all about mitigation. The Tories are doing mitigation. We should be doing mitigation. We should be planning for the future, so these problems don't arise again. But no, the Tories just want to undo everything. Just like the, way over 4,000 EU laws that were, made while we were a member. They're the UK laws as well, really. Anyway, you tell me. Please leave it in the comments down below, but please click like and subscribe, and maybe that little bell icon, because then you get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket every time I upload another video. I just find this absolutely mind-numbing. I really do. And stressful, if I'm honest about it. How about you? Leave it in the comments down below. Ta-ta. Oh, please click the little like button, and maybe that little bell icon, because then you get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket every time I upload another video. I can't remember if I've said that already. I think I'm losing my mind.